I had an abortion when I was 20. People at the clinic constantly read me as a woman and called me ma'am, she, miss. Having an abortion is tough enough without having to navigate constant misgendering. It's like being slapped every 2 seconds.
Hey, somehow I found myself in Minnesota, and I can't sleep when I'm traveling. There's an owl out the window, if you can hear that. I wrote a sentence, and it's a bang-up sentence. It's a fabulous sentence, just on the aesthetics alone. And it's not perfectly, not pentametered, iambicized. It's not perfectly iambic, but it's got a nice rhythm. I like the rhythm, and it's got like this boom. And plus there's a little trick that I put in there that most people miss. Now the sentence, it ends up, it pissed off this contingent of the radical feminist, gender critical bunch. Now, I have a lot of discussions with them individually. There's some amazing individuals and amazing women up in there. But this group also has some pretty like whippersnapper kind of people. Some people that get all riled up when they perceive that you said something that they don't like. And this particular sentence got them. And then like one or two of them started retweeting the sentence and like saying that I'm a bad person and that they don't trust gender critical males, which I never said I was. I repeatedly say I'm not a fucking ally. I'm an ally of individuals whose interests and whose personalities align with mine. I'm not an ally of a group. I have certain interests that I work for, and certain other individuals and my interests converge. And in that sense, I'm an ally, but I'm not an ally in the current sense of like a water boy or a whipping boy. And I don't think that especially gender critical women trust male feminists and male allies. They turn out time and time again to be weak, weaselly jerks. Or maybe wankers. I may be a wanker, I don't know. But I'm nobody's water boy. I have my own thoughts. They converge with other people. Anyways, this sentence, it's a great sentence. Let's see. Okay, and then there was a trick that I put in there. This is cool. It's a great sentence. And they get so mad. And then they try to cancel you by shaming you. It's like, what? The sentence. Okay, it's regarding this video where there's the video. It's just so weird. It's a sympathetic video with this music, and there's this female with very female-looking femininity going on with her body and her makeup. Her hair is short, I guess, and she's got a nose ring. I don't know if that means anything. But she's saying, I'm sorry. Well, okay, I can't even say the video right because of the freaking language games. And this is the thing. This is the whole point of this like bedtime video. It's not bedtime. It's like 6 a.m. The light's getting better. BL's still out there. So this woman is talking about her experience getting an abortion. Now, an abortion is a right for females in America to have an abortion. And there's a bunch of infrastructure that provides abortions to women relatively easily, actually, in most states. I think there's probably some states where it's difficult, but it's pretty convenient in a lot of other states. It's kind of a modern thing. We have the technology. It happens. It happens, and we do it, but it's still a contentious issue. Because we're dealing with some very powerful things. We're dealing with sex and the consequences of sex, which happens to be life. Sex between a man and a woman, sex between a male and a female produces another human being. Right? And treating that lightly is something that you might end up doing if extinguishing that or terminating that pregnancy is convenient. You might think that, well, sex has consequences. Life's good. I don't want to kill anybody, but it doesn't really matter. All that stuff doesn't really matter. There's less and less consequences to that. Anyways, getting off the point, but it's a rambly bedtime video. I am not even wearing a shirt, which kind of plays into this entire debacle because I'm a fucking man. Anyway, so this female is talking, and then this video is all produced, and there's like all these like different angles of her, and the camera's moving, and the sympathetic music. And she's talking about how nobody respected her gender pronouns when she was getting an abortion, and how upset and hurtful that was. And one of the lines was like, it was hard enough to get an abortion, but that they didn't even respect my pronouns while they were giving it to me. It was like this big deal. And it's just really weird. It's just like where have we gone with our culture? Like, where are we? And if you don't think that's a little weird, you're a little weird. There's something weird going on. So I come up with a sentence. I wrote it out, and I had to scrub it because, you know, it has to be just the sentence. Now, the metering isn't perfect, but it goes like this. More regard for her pronouns than the life she had extinguished. I'll say that again so you can listen to it as a sentence. More regard for her pronouns than the life she had extinguished. Now, it's a cool sentence for a number of different reasons. I like the rhythm of it, but beyond that, it's got like that boom at the end, the life she had extinguished. Like ego, that's a bomb. You're throwing a bomb. And I'm not saying I'm not throwing a mortar. I'm throwing a mortar. The life she had, like that, it confronts you with the possibility of the consequences of what we're talking about. It brings a weight into this conversation, and that weight offsets this whole gender thing. It's like your gender pronouns. What do those pronouns refer to? They refer to your sex. And what comes from sex? What is the consequence of sex? It's human life. The most precious thing that we know in this world is a human life. And we think that because we're humans, but they're also pretty amazing. Humans are pretty awesome. Okay, now we're getting in light here. You guys are going to see how like frumpy I am when I'm laying topless in a bed because I'm a man. Anyway, so, you know, but there's this whole debate around abortion because abortion is a female right. It's granted to females. In most states, there's probably some states that wrestle with this, but at least on the federal level, maybe it should be a state issue, but on the federal level, we've decided in our country that freedom is in tension. The freedom of the female is in tension with the life of the child. There's a tension there. And to ignore that tension is itself more problematic than having than going down one way or the other on the issue. So there's the issue, but there's the rush to get your way with this issue. And in that rush to get the way with this issue, you ignore the gravity of the issue. There are some very complex things going on in that issue. And my tweet was bringing that up. And my tweet, well, it was a sentence. Who cares if it was a tweet? It was a sentence. That's what it is. First and foremost, it's a sentence. I'm pointing out, I'm suggesting. Okay, I can get to the trick. Actually, this is how I'm suggesting it. And it's hidden because you actually have to think about the sentence, not just react to the sentence. You have to actually think about it because it's a good freaking sentence. The sentence says that the subject of the sentence is missing. The sentence says more regard for her pronouns than the life she had extinguished. Where's the subject? Who has more regard for her pronouns than the life she had extinguished? Who is that? Is it her? Am I talking about her? Or am I talking about a society that has worked so hard to extinguish the consequences of sex? That sex essentially, because it's loosened from its consequences, it becomes less meaningful. The outcome, the product of sex. We have different ways of stopping those consequences. And a few generations later, how does that start to shape a society's regard for sex? And then its regard for sex in the second sense, in biological sex. We have escaped certain consequences of biology We've loosed from that. And so those categories mean less. In the bones of our youth, it means less because there's no consequences there. And a lot of society, and all the way up to the modern period, a lot of culture was based on the consequences of the interaction of the male and the female. And those consequences are profound. And so is the reality of male and female. The reality of the male and the female is profound. In my estimation, not just biologically, but we can just keep it to the biology. It's profound because it shapes your brain. All those hormones shape your brain. They shape your body. They have different life outcomes. They cause your personality to be different. Just put some, if you're a female, put some testosterone in your body. Not enough if you don't want to change your voice or start growing hair where you don't want it, but it actually changes your mood. It makes you more like sexually aggravated. It narrows your palette of emotionality to anger and lust, more or less, right? And I've spoken to a lot of trans people and detrans people. They get on these hormones. Estrogen makes men, their emotional palette actually opens up, and they can actually express and experience emotions in a more intimate way than they could when they were without estrogen. And then also with females, when they get on testosterone, they start thinking about sex a lot, and then their emotional palette kind of narrows, and they end up getting angry. And some of them have even told me that they can't cry when they're on testosterone. So sentence, and then the drama. And the drama comes around to really lame. So very few people have actually made an argument for or against abortion. They've only told me that I shat the bed and that I shouldn't moralize about abortion. Abortion has consequences. It has profound societal consequences. And those consequences are in tension with rights. They are in tension with rights, just like the transgender and feminist combating for femininity, or for the category of female, and for women's rights. Women's rights are in tension with trans rights. You have to honor that tension. You can't just go full bore and say that everybody that disagrees with you or is on the other side of the issue is a misogynist or a bigot, because you're ignoring the complexity of the matter when you do that. And that's what people are doing. And that is stupid. You're stupid if you're telling me to shut up. I'm not going to shut up. And neither should you. Make your freaking case. Make your argument. If you didn't like my language, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because it was a cool freaking sentence and it got my point across. It evoked moral tension. That is the purpose of good writing. It evokes the tension. And it doesn't say what I think about abortion, because what I think about abortion can't fit within a sentence. Duh. So if you start asking me questions, I can start responding to them. I would rather not do that on Twitter, because of the way that the tension runs on Twitter is to maximize the tension. Right? So when we're in Twitter, there's so much tension that attention gets narrowed. It gets narrowed into yes, no, for or against freaking stupid behaviors. And they're stupid. They're stupid behaviors, but they're necessary. You have to be for and against things. Anyhow. People are so stupid. I love you. I love you all. Bye.